Hello, and welcome to the Vows to Victory Summit. We're your hosts, Eric and Dr. Sakeisha Hylick.
Now, you may have been invited here by a friend, by a family member, or one of our amazing guest speakers. You may have even heard about this summit through Facebook ads. Either way, we're glad that you're here, and we're sure that you've enjoyed the speakers thus far. And guess what? This is just the beginning. Now, I'm sure you're wondering, just who is this summit for? Maybe you're like Jamie and Todd. I mean, he's talking, she's talking, but nobody is listening. Maybe you're like Ashley and Sean. When you first got married, it was like 50 shades of gray in your bedroom. But now it looks like a second office, or for some of you, it might look like another playroom for the kids, or your bedroom is quickly becoming the TV room because nothing is happening.
And you've gone from husband and wife to almost roommates. Life has gotten so busy with the children, jobs, and business responsibilities that they rarely have time, much less the energy, to connect physically anymore. Now, if this sounds familiar, then this is for you.
Now, maybe you're like Jeff and Monica. I mean, this one really, really hit home for us. I mean, have you ever had those endless shouting matches about money issues? Are you tired of seeing your account in the negative and wondering, how did you get there? Is your spouse suddenly appearing with all kinds of bags of goodies from a shopping spree that you knew absolutely nothing about? Now, we realize that this is an uncomfortable conversation, but it is what? Very necessary. All those sleepless nights, the tossing and the turning because you're frustrated and trying to figure out how ends are going to meet. And if that is you, then this webinar is for you. But you know one thing that we do know, that marriages don't break themselves.
No, they don't.
Just like it takes two people to tango, it takes two people to break a marriage. Now, what are the top 5 things that will break a marriage?
Well, number one, and always the key, is communication.
You know what? I'm sure you're wondering. Communication is the key. That's the primary one. But go ahead, take a second guess. What do you think the other 4 ones are?
Well, number 2 is finances. Number 3 is sex. Number 4 is faith. And number 5 is the lack of forgiveness.
Okay. Now, communication is going to be the main issue here. Oftentimes, it's because one spouse is expecting the other one to read their mind. I mean, the truth is, no spouse can correct something that they don't even know exists. So what's the best way to resolve it? What? Talk about it.
Yes,
talk about the good, talk about the bad. Talk just like you did when you were dating. I mean, make sure that you're talking to one another instead of at one another. What's the second point, hon?
Finances. Each spouse needs to be on the same page financially. It doesn't mean that each person has to be strong in that area, but that just they need to agree on how to handle the finances.
You know what? You got to make what's going to come out. Make sure that what's going out of your account doesn't exceed what's coming into your account. You need to meet on a regular basis and discuss your finances. It really depends on how often you get paid. Some of us get paid twice a month, like on the 15th and the 30th. Some of us once a month. So all of that's going to determine how frequently you and your spouse need to meet.
Yes, that's going to determine what we call the B word.
Yeah. So here's where the issue arises. Sometimes there's too much undisclosed information. A budget, or the B word, can help squash arguments between a couple. So you can still you can determine and tell the money where it goes instead of it telling you where to go. Let me say that one more time and make sure I got this clear. You guys can tell your money where to go instead of your money telling you what to do with it. Does that make sense?
Makes sense. Now, we all know with no money comes no romance.
Oh, wow. Sex. No money, no honey.
That's right, sex.
So that's one of the third most common reasons, right?
Sex has to be a priority.
It does?
Yes, it does.
All right.
We understand that if there is a physical reason why the two of you are engaging in sexual activity on a regular basis, but other than that, it wasn't a priority. When you first got married, you couldn't keep your hands off each other.
Right. Now,
So
you want to make sure sex isn't seen as a chore.
exactly, it's not a chore. It's not a, what do you call it? Something that you hate to look forward to. It's something that you look forward to.
Yes, it needs to be pleasurable. It needs to be deep. It needs to be a connection involved, not just a hurry up and get it over with so I can go to sleep type thing.
Exactly.
All right. So you know what the fourth thing is? Your faith. I mean, let me be real. Sometimes we spend so much time praying for a spouse. God, give me a spouse. God, give me a spouse. And then once you get the spouse, you either forget or you get too busy to thank God for the spouse that they gave you. Instead, you opt to complain. It goes from thank you, God, for my spouse to Lord, look what you gave me for a spouse. And God's like, wait a minute, you prayed all those months, all those years. I finally give you a spouse. Now you're going to start complaining. Where is your faith? I didn't promise you they were going to be a perfect spouse. I promised you a spouse that would love you, that would honor you, that would treat you with the respect you deserve. But the truth is, life happened. So how do you handle that?
Well, I'll tell you one thing. You got to have number 5, forgiveness.
Yes.
Because you're not always going to be agreeing. You're not always going to be perfect. And sometimes you're just going to get on each other's nerves.
Now, truly, forgiveness can be a challenging one.
Yes, sir.
Because at some point, we're all going to fall short. We're all imperfect beings, like you said. So there's going to be a time where you're going to be upset because they may not respond the way you want them to respond. They may not do what you want them to do. But that doesn't mean that you stay locked in that unforgiving position. You have to be able to get up and move forward in your marriage. So did you know that walking in unforgiveness impacts you physically? It impacts you emotionally, and it impacts you spiritually. It impacts your relationship with God because your prayers are now hindered because you're walking in unforgiveness to your spouse.
Exactly. So that takes us to this. What is a vow?
So you know what? When we all got married, we took a vow, which is a solemn promise. But guess what? Oftentimes in our marriage, we do what? We forget the promise.
That's right. So now some of us have spoken the words, but we didn't really believe the words and the impact it would have on our lives or our marriages.
Yeah.
So some of us didn't even realize that these words, these vows, were meant to be spoken more than once. Yes, I said it more than once.
Mm-hmm.
And not just at renewing the vow ceremony.
We got you there, didn't we?
Let's think about it. How often do we recite the Pledge of Allegiance, at least back in school?
Yes, I remember it. We used to say it every morning. It was a reminder of our commitment. And so what we're saying here is why not do the same thing? Recite your vows on a regular basis to remind you and your spouse of your commitment to your relationship.
Exactly. And we have some rules. So rule number 1, remember the vow, repeat the vow, recite the vow.
Now, I'm sure you're like, remember the vow, repeat the vow, recite the vow. What's that about? Look, think about it. You may have said the Pledge of Allegiance over 100 times when you were in school, but you only say your vows once. Well, for us, we said it 3 times, once at each wedding. But that's a totally different story. We'll talk about this because we were married 3 times, but we'll talk about that a little later. All right.
So traditional vows.
There's no time like the present. If your spouse, let me give you guys an assignment. If your spouse is with you, I want you to turn to your spouse and repeat after me. I,
Eric Hylick,
take thee
to be my wedded wife, to have and to hold, for this day forward, for better, for worse, for richer, for poor, and in sickness and in health, to love and to cherish till death do us part.
So why are we encouraging you to do this? Because life happens. Challenges arise, but you can't allow the challenges to be greater than your vows.
Biggest challenges to couple face. These are the biggest challenges that we face. Here's a key reason why we encourage you to do those three things. Remember the vows, repeat the vows, recite the vows. Why? Because we keep trying to renegotiate the terms we both agree. So when the two of us face challenges together, no need to renegotiate the terms. Just remember, recite and repeat the vows. This leads us to our next rule. Rule number 2.
So rule number 2 means all money should be what? It should be 3 things. The first thing all money should be is obligated. When you got married, I'm sure none of you ever decided, where your money should go instead of it telling you where to go. Does that make sense? So you and your spouse need to get together and create a plan that determines where your money should go, where it should be obligated to do. If you need to pay bills, whatever financial obligations you have, that money should be obligated to take care of that. But also money should be what?
Designated.
All right. So every dollar should have an assignment, be it a light bill, a phone bill, a cable bill, a mortgage.
Nails, hair done, feet pedicures.
Okay, back to what I was saying. If you wait until the day that you get paid, you'll find yourselves tired and frustrated and irritated with your spouse because things constantly come up. Now, if you've already given your money a designated assignment, you're less likely to overspend because you'll be able to look at your check and realize this part of my money is assigned to my tuition. This part of my money is assigned to the light bill. This is assigned to the cable bill. This is assigned to the rent. Because if not, you'll find yourself, like they said, robbing Peter to pay Paul, or AKA living paycheck to paycheck. And that's not what we want.
Right.
And that leads us to our third point, where all money should be transparent. Now, I'm going to pause right here for a moment. And the reason we say that, because we worked with, I don't know how many couples, and a lot of them talk about the fact that, we should have separate accounts. We should have everything in one account. And the truth is, every couple is going to be different, but right. Your money should be transparent, meaning you don't need to hide it. If you're going to have an account for, say, all the bills, we do that. I have my own little account where, hey, if I need expenditures, I need to get my nails done, my daughter's hair done, that doesn't impact our bills. So that money is stashed away. I know if I need to do something, it needs to be within the confines of that budget, right?
Right, and I know where it is.
And he knows exactly where it is.
And how to access it.
Which is the second point, because should something happen to me, that money shouldn't just sit there. He needs to be able to access it. Now, every couple manages money differently. So we realize that. I mean, some relationships, the husband might be stronger in finances, and others, the wife may be stronger. Either way, we get it. Flow in a way that it works for you and your spouse, but have the necessary conversations so that you're both aware of what's going on and what's happening to the finances in the relationship. And you know why?
Well, because you want it to be transparent and make sure that there's nothing hidden. But the best thing to do, even if you do understand about finances, is to get a financial advisor.
You know what? If not, it's going to be everybody's money but yours. And why is this important?
Because you don't want it to be going out more than is coming in.
And that's important because, on tax day this year, it's been changed, but Uncle Sam is looking for his cut of the money.
Exactly.
And he's going to take it. So you need to make sure that you're handling your finances such that when tax day rolls around, you don't have more going out than you have coming in. And you know why? That's a huge issue in relationships, finances. And you know what? Marriages don't break themselves.
So let's take a moment here. It's two of you, right? It takes two. And the marriage, like she said, doesn't break itself because it's two people involved. Each of you have something to contribute. Now, I don't know how many times that Sakeisha and I have sat down, we had disagreements, and we both thought that each other had caused the issue and broke the issue and caused us to get to the point where we're angry at each other.
Yeah.
But you know what happens when we go to the bathroom, when we look in the mirror, we see ourselves.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So, you know what we do? There are some suggestions and some recommendations for those couples. Now, when we're talking about money, if you look below, if you can go to that website, this is where you can go to get a free needs analysis. You can talk about your financial goals, where you are today, where you want to go. You can talk about vacations. And then you're also going to be planning. If you don't already have children, you can start planning for their education, saving for the education, saving for the vacation, saving for the house, saving for the cars, and saving for retirement.
Now, I have a question for you guys. The reason why we're talking about this is because we found ourselves in a place where we had to make a decision. I mean, I'd been a pharmacist for 19 years
Mhm.
and I had challenges in my health. So, guess what? That's a six-figure salary out the window.
Wow.
So, guess what? I reached the end of the road with my current job. You know, working, doing the part time and on a long term disability, that just was not cutting it with a family. We had a two-figure income bills, but then we no longer had that two-figure income. So we decided, to pursue an avenue in which we could be a blessing to other couples. I mean, we were working with couples anyway.
Right.
We were helping them with the communication, the finances, and their sex. So we made a business out of it. We got our license and became licensed financial services advisors. So, when you're finding yourself, if you're at the end of the road with your current job, or you might be finished college, but you're not necessarily interested in pursuing traditional employment, or you might have been recently downsized, but you're ready to start the next phase of your life. We want to provide you with an avenue to earn an additional stream of income, help your family build a legacy,
That's right.
build generational wealth, and protect your wealth. So we would definitely like to extend the offer for you to check out the website at clients.firstfinancialsecurity.com/FFSBB. That's going to take you to our website where you can get a free financial analysis. And what we can teach you is how to build a team who's going to support your vision. We'll teach you how to work with customer service. We teach you in our business, you're able to learn from your mistakes. It's not held over your head, and you have constant on the job training. You can leverage the experience and expertise of your business partners, and you can deliver quality results. So we encourage those of you to look at it, check us out on that website, and give us a call. We'd love to provide you with a free financial analysis to help you and your family get on track for a positive financial future, as well as consider it as another stream of income for you.
So that leads us to our next rule, number 3.
All right.
What happened to the sex?
Now, once you get married, you need to make sure that your sex life is still a priority.
That's
Some
right.
spouses might be scratching their heads sometimes and wondering what happened to the sex and why. Because your spouse winds up being on the last on your to-do list.
Oh no, don't put me last, baby.
I mean, to be honest, life happens. Things happen. We have jobs, we have businesses, we have bills, we have kids. I get it. But the truth is, your spouse should not be last on your to-do list. I mean, first things first, when life happens and all of these things are coming at you, one of the things you should do is connect more with your spouse.
Right. And
Turn
what you got
to
to
them.
do is you got to make them a priority.
Yeah.
Priorities. Great sex starts before you reach the bedroom. So reminder to the men, great sex starts in the morning when you wake up. Set the tone so when you get home, your wife is ready.
So don't forget, it's the small things that lead to a great experience between the two of you. The same old thinking gives you the same old results. So if you have a boring sex life now, it's going to continue to be boring until you remember to incorporate the small things that can lead to a great experience.
So what exactly are the small things?
It's things like thoughtfulness, kindness, giving compliments, and good grooming habits.
Oh, wow. So have you had the talk?
And I'm sure you're wondering, like, what talk? I talk to my spouse all the time. No, there's a talk that you and your spouse need to have on a regular basis because we're always evolving, our bodies are always changing. And let's face it, after being in the healthcare industry for 19 years, I realized that there are certain things that happen to our bodies that we need to talk to our spouses about. So there are going to be things that change for women. I mean, things can change for us sexually. I mean, being a pharmacist who's over 30, and I'm staying at that, I understand there are things like medical diseases that can impact a woman's body. I mean, medications, if they're on antidepressants. I mean, there can be certain lifestyle habits. If she consumes alcohol, smoke, or drinking, using any drugs, if you've had surgery, if there's going to be any fatigue and menopause happens. There could be like also different psychological things. We talked about depression before, but also anxiety and stress, such as financial stress, stress at work, stress at home,
self-esteem.
Yeah, and poor body image. Let me say that. Can I pause here for a second?
Yes, baby.
Husbands, we need you to understand, as we get older, our bodies may change. We look to you to encourage us, speak life over us, encourage our bodies. We understand there may be stretch marks from carrying the kids and things happen, but we need you to encourage us. Love every part of the body, every part of our bodies. Trust me, it'll bless you.
Yes. And just as things change for women, they also change for men. Low testosterone, low testosterone is an important male hormone. Medications, restless leg syndrome, RLS, depression, chronic illness, sleep problems, aging, and what I hate, smoking.
Hold up. Can we pause for 1 second? The reason why this picture is here is because you see that little blue pill. You need to have that conversation with your spouse in case there is a need for a little blue pill.
Yes.
And it's so funny that some men don't want to have those conversations with their wives, but it's going to impact your wife if something is not going on. You don't want her to feel that it's her. It could be something like depression. It could be the testosterone. It could be a chronic illness, but you need to have that conversation with her so she can get you to the doctor, help get you the appropriate treatment so you can continue to have that quality connection time.
It's a good thing that I have a pharmacist for the wife. So what makes it work in the bedroom? That's a question we all ask, right?
Yes. Well, we want to share with you. We have what we call a small things manifesto. If you remember, we talked earlier about the small things that lead to a great experience, such as thoughtfulness and kindness. So what we want you to do is remember the small things. And can I break it down for them,
Yes,
honey?
you sure can.
All right. The S in small means say what you mean and mean what you say. The M means for make time with them a priority. The A stands for acknowledge the small things they do. The first L means learn how to have fun again. The second L means let them know how important to you they really are. Now, for things, the T means thank you. A little appreciation goes a long way. All right. The H stands for how can I make your day better? When we ask our spouse about their day, we're being selfless and putting their needs first. So then the next thing is the I, initiate sex regularly, not once a year, not once every 6 months, not just on your birthday, but initiate sex regularly.
And that's just not for men. That means women initiated sex.
Yes. Okay. The N in small things means never be too proud to apologize.
That's right.
The G means give compliments on a regular basis. And the last S means safe space, meaning you need to make sure that your home is an environment that's warm, that's welcoming, and a place of peace and comfort. And all of those things lead to the small things manifesto. So make sure there should be a link below for you to order your free copy of the Small Things Manifesto, which reminds us to do what?
That's right. Remember to recite, repeat, and you got to remember that because marriages don't break themselves.
But
Remember
what does that? But what breaks a marriage?
People do. The individuals, the husband and the wife, they're two people, not
Mhm.
just one person. And they both have a contribution to it.
Mm-hmm. But what is it? Bad habits.
Bad
That's the main
habits.
thing, like ignoring your spouse, making them feel neglected, not being thoughtful. It's those small things that lead to a great experience.
Right.
But one of the things we want to remind you is,
Everything in your marriage isn't broken.
so let us help you out. I'm so excited about this. 30 days prior to your anniversary, we want to help you out. We want you to sign up for the 30 Days of Gratitude Journal. So it's going to be one for the husband and one for the wife. So step number one, you just sign up at our email list at marriagecanwin@gmail.com, and we'll send you a link, which is step number two, to order one for you and for your spouse. You can pre-order it now or prior to your anniversary. Step number three, you're going to fill out all the sections in this journal for 30 days. They're going to be daily reminders. They're going to be thoughts of you. They're going to be reflections and things of that nature, scriptures that you can stand on. And step number four, you present it to your spouse on your anniversary. So you're going to spend 30 days prior to your anniversary getting prepared. And I'm telling you, husbands, you will blow your wife's mind if you just take some time to do that. So you'll get your copy of the Vows to Victory Journal, and it is going to be amazing.
Now, remember, marriages don't break themselves, but guess what? Bad habits do.
But guess what? If you fix your habits, you can save your marriage. Why?
Great habits create great marriages.
All right. So we have another set of affirmations for you, and we are so excited about it. So I hope you have your pen and paper ready. It's called the Vow to Victory Affirmations.
Value the way we learn on each other when we lean on each other for support.
I means I appreciate my spouse for all he or she does for our marriage.
Commit to communication openly and honestly.
The T stands for trust because it's an integral part of our marriage.
Oh, our marriage is growing stronger every day.
The R means respond in love even when it's difficult.
You show up in your marriage every single day, regardless of the circumstances.
And that stands for victory. So that's why we're talking about the Vow to Victory Summit. And why are we having this? Because today's marriages are under assault. And we need you. We need couples like you who are winning in their marriage. We need couples like you who are transparent about their challenges and their wins.
Because you want to do what? Leave a legacy for the next couple.
So we've created the ultimate guide, the ultimate how-to on this journey. So make sure you join us on this journey. How do you do that? Step number one, go to our website, go to www.vowthovictorysummit.com/sale. And I think it's a sale or sales page. I'll double check that. Step number two, let us interview you. Just click on the button that says click here to schedule your interview.
Step number three, our ghostwriters will help you tell your story. Step number four, be a part of the book project that saves marriages around the world.
Step number five, be a part of our film project, our podcast, and our retreat.
Step number six, don't wait, do it today. Only a few spaces available.
Now, let me read that website again. It's www.vowthovictorysummit.com/sales.
-page-MC.
Now, you remember, your success is our goal.
We want to see you go from the vow to the victory. So we want to thank you and thank you in your time. And remember that you need to be the change that you want to see in your relationship.